Hi, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to go through rotator cuff strengthening. So what I would call today's program is an intermediate phase or intermediate intensity rotator cuff muscle strengthening program. I most often use these exercises with my patients who've had a rotator cuff repair and they've progressed to this point. To get to this point, they're typically about 12 weeks out from surgery. Enough healing has occurred in that rotator cuff to allow a little more intense strengthening, and so we start these exercises. I also frequently use these exercises with patients that we would broadly categorize as having a painful and weak shoulder. So patients that fall into that category have problems like smaller rotator cuff tears that are maybe non-operative or we're trying to avoid surgery, people who have been diagnosed with shoulder or rotator cuff impingement, rotator cuff tendonitis, rotator cuff tendinopathy. These are all diagnoses that fall under this umbrella of weak and painful shoulder. And the exercises that we're using in this program strengthen muscles that are frequently weak with those patients. The broad strokes of this program is we're trying to strengthen three main muscle groups. Muscles that externally rotate the shoulder, muscles that raise the arm up or raise the shoulder up, and some of the back shoulder muscles or shoulder blade muscles. So all of our exercises in this program, to one degree or another, address these muscles. Our first exercise works a rotator cuff muscle called the supraspinatus muscle. So I've got two 1 pound weights and we'll work both sides. If you don't have 1 pound weights, can of soup will work okay. So up tall, keep your posture pretty tall, try to make yourself tall. Keep your shoulder blades down. I often say keep the turtle out of the shell and raise the arms up to the side. Now notice my arms aren't straight to my side. My hands are a little bit toward the front. And all that does is put the supraspinatus muscle in a position where it's worked most efficiently. So again, I'm keeping my shoulder blades down. I'm not shrugging, okay? Up and down. And the rotator cuff muscles are endurance muscles. So we want to use a weight that allows us to get a pretty high rep count, 15 to 20 reps. So we'll do 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps of this exercise. Our next exercise works the muscles that externally rotate the shoulder. So this is mostly the infraspinatus muscle, which is again one of the rotator cuff muscles. So with the towel between the rib cage and the arm, again I've got my 1 pound weight. I'm simply gonna raise the weight up to approximately this position. I'm not raising way up here. That gets a little awkward and painful. Okay, so it's in a somewhat compact range. Get to the top of the movement, hold for a second or two, come down kind of slow. Up, hold for a second or two, come down kind of slow. And as I mentioned before, again, the rotator cuff muscles are endurance muscles. So all of our exercises should really reflect sort of that physiological structure and their overall function. So we'll want to keep this again to about the 15 to 20 rep range. Our next exercise I call the shoulder slider. So you'll be on your hands and knees and you'll need one of these furniture sliders to do this. So the working hand in this case is my left hand, okay, my left shoulder. So on the hands and knees, the non-working side is on, the hand is on the slider. And you're going to slide that hand to 3 positions. Straight up, at a bit of an angle to my right, and then straight to my right. So we're working a muscle here called the serratus anterior, which is a really pivotal muscle for stabilizing the shoulder blade when you have to push and exert force. So for our weightlifter patients, this is one of our baby steps toward getting back to bench press, incline press, stuff like that. And for our rotator cuff repair patients, this is our baby step toward any kind of forceful pushing, on the job, again, weightlifting or sport-related function. We need this serratus anterior muscle to be able to push with some force and to help keep the shoulder blade in place to protect that rotator cuff. These next 2 exercises, you're simply going to lay flat on the floor. You'll want something for your forehead, a rolled up towel or a pillow, and you're simply going to lay flat, head down, arms straight out, thumbs up, and this is working those shoulder blade muscles I mentioned in the intro. So trying to keep your shoulder blades down, not shrugging. Shoulder blades down, raise the arms up, not real far, hold for a moment, come down kind of slow. Up, hold for a moment, come down kind of slow. And again, staying in that higher rep range, 15 to 20. You're probably not going to need any weight to do this. If so, a small weight. So now our next exercise, still staying on our stomach, hands down. So we just did the T. Now we're going to do the A. So now pinkies are up rather than thumbs. Raise the arms up, shoulder blades down, hold for a moment, come down. I sometimes call this the Iron Man. It kind of looks like you're flying like Iron Man. Up and down. The big challenge here is keeping those shoulder blades down, and it actually gets quite tiring. It doesn't look like much, but it gets pretty tiring. That's my intermediate phase rotator cuff muscle strengthening program. And again, I most often use this with my patients who have had a rotator cuff repair. They're, again, about 12 weeks out from surgery. We're starting to ramp up the strengthening process for them. And again, I also frequently use it with my patients who have some kind of rotator cuff pathology and we're either trying to avoid surgery or they're really not a surgical candidate for any number of reasons. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you have questions, put them in the comments section, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.